Welcome to the show. For all those who watch on YouTube, please take a moment and click the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. Please like this episode and share it on your social media. Today on Mr. Nashville Talks, singer-songwriter, all-around great gal, Deborah Allen. Well, I am so excited, a little bit more than normal, because I have one of my old friends, one of the greatest, well, she's not old, I'm old, but one of my friends for a while, and one of the most beautiful ladies in town, one of the greatest songwriters, Miss Deborah Allen.
Larry, you are so sweet.
Oh.
Gosh, how long have we been trying to get together?
I know, it's been a good while, and then, we had this pandemic.
That's what I mean. We were just about to do it, and then that hit, and but hey, everything works out the way it's supposed to.
Well, you're right, and now we have more to talk about. We have this album, The Art of Dreaming, and I love it. I love everything, and we're going to talk a lot about that, because I think people need to get this album. This is the first studio album you've done of all original material in a decade, right?
That's what they say.
Wow.
I'm busy all the time, and I'm always working on this or that project, and I was putting little EPs out on my own, but I didn't have the team behind me then as I do now, and a nice cohesive album. It's just feels so good. Now, I want to say that I did do a really neat charity project, which is a charity project that's near and dear to my heart in between time. It's a charity project called TAPS, T-A-P-S, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors.
Oh, I love
and
that.
So all of our amazing Nashville community came together, all the musicians, a lot of great songwriters came together, and Frank Myers and Jimmy Nichols. They asked me would I be a part of it, so I got to write with me and Greg Barnhill, our fallen soldier, our fallen hero. His name was Preston Brown, and we wrote with his mother, sister, and brother.
Wow.
And our song is called Press On Preston. And the name of the album is called Love Lives On. And it's at taps.org. So that's what, it's not like I haven't been doing anything.
No,
I've been very busy writing songs, making music, putting out little EPs. I've got one out there called The Best You've Never Heard from Deborah Allen. And then the Taps is just very near and dear to my heart. But I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, and because this is a mainstream album. This can be played on modern radio. And traditional fans will still love it as well. It's a little bit for everybody on this album. Was that what you intended to do? Or?
Yeah, it's hard for me to just always just put it in a box. Yeah. Because to me, every song tells its own story, and then every story has its own soundtrack to go with it. So it's an eclectic album, but of course it's based on everything I learned about songwriting here in Nashville, Tennessee. I love Nashville, but I've got a little bit of my Memphis roots in there too, and I think, you put it real well. I hope it has something for everybody. I think it does.
Yeah, I think so too. Every song, I love, of course, the new single, or the first single, the lead single is Blue Collar Baby. I was about to say Baby, I lied. And the Blue Collar Baby, and tell us how that came about, that you decided to write that song.
Oh, Blue Collar Baby. Well, I wrote Blue Collar Baby with one of my dearest friends, one of the greatest songwriters on the planet. And as a matter of fact, Rolling Stone, I can't remember what year it was, but they did a list of the top 100 best guitar players of all time, and his name is in that distinguished list, and I'm talking about Big Al Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we wrote that song, and actually that's a song that we wrote a little while back, but I just thought it was perfect for today. I didn't really plan it this way, but there has been a lot of attention drawn lately to our blue-collar workers, and I grew up in a blue-collar family. My parents were upholsterers. In fact, they upholstered Elvis's first bus.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And when I was a little kid, I camped out in it and everything. Oh. Ate all his ice cubes. Yeah, my sister Judy and I camped in it. Well, my daddy had to bring the bus home because Elvis's Memphis Mafia kept hanging around the shop, and that just caused a big commotion.
Yeah.
But my mother has this design flair, and she did everything in royal blue, trimmed in gold. Back on his bed, she did a big medallion with EP in the center of it, and he loved it, and he called her and thanked her for it and told her he thought it was beautiful. So, yeah, George Klein actually is the one that drew Elvis to my parents. And
really?
He said, E, you got to take your bus over there to Leon Thurman's automobile upholstery shop, which he did. So that's a little part of our past, but my parents are blue-collar workers. You know, like I said, my mother's got the design flair, but heck, she would be in there sewing seat covers too, you know? And I just am so thankful that I grew up in a country where there's so many creative people. Blue-collar people are creative.
Yes.
You know, they're creative, they make things with their hands, and I just thought Blue Collar Baby was a good thing for now. And since it was first released in February, I started thinking, well, maybe this can be my Valentine to all the blue-collar workers. Kind of a tip of the hat to them, because they are the backbone of our country.
Yes.
They truly are.
They are. You know, because blue-collar people are the ones that take the chances.
Yes, they do.
You know, elite people and things, they're not going to throw that money around or that talent somewhere that's not making them the money they want to make, or they're just a little more shy about it.
Yeah, and they're down to earth, and, you know, actually, sometimes sometimes I think that people stereotype blue-collar people, and they think they're not really making a good enough living.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they're just this or they're just that.
Yeah.
But the truth is, blue-collar workers are skilled people, and sometimes they are the most highly paid people, and educated and paid people on the planet.
You're right, totally. And like you say, they get kind of left behind a lot.
They do,
because they're not the flashy, shiny.
The pipeliners, the coal miners, the construction workers, even our policemen and firemen. I love them all, and I just think it's so cool that that's what our country was built on. You know, it's really, I just like the concept of work hard, do good, and then good happens.
That's what America's always been about, the fabric of America. And I hope we kind of get back to that. I think we have to hold on to it right now, because it's sliding away a little bit in some areas. In some areas. I think that people are starting to open their eyes. And anyway, back to Blue Collar Baby. It's so much fun because I wrote it with Al. Yeah. And it's really a rockabilly tune, which I love rockabilly. Yes. You know, I'm from Memphis, so I do like that vibe. And the video I really enjoyed because it's like a collage of all the different kinds of blue collar workers you could think of. Yeah. And it's pretty fun. It's a love letter to them. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. And like you said, it can be their anthem. Exactly. You know, and I mean, there's 12 songs on the album. Patsy Cline Crazy, I love that as well. Thank you. Which is there one that kind of speaks out to you that means the most to you? That's probably not a fair question, but in different areas maybe. Well, there are in different areas, but since you did mention Patsy Cline Crazy, can we talk about that for a second? I love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited about Patsy Cline Crazy because you know. Clever title. Thank you. Yeah. Well. The thing that was so much fun about that song is it's like a list of like 24 or 26 of the most classic, iconic songs in country music. Yeah. And it was fun just weaving it together to make it tell this story, which leads up to Patsy Cline Crazy. I've had a couple of people that hear Patsy Cline Crazy, and a guy from my Facebook page said, "Oh, I can't wait to hear you sing to hear Crazy, because I want to hear your rendition." And I said, well, I don't think it's exactly what you think it is, but I hope you like it. Yeah. But yeah, it's been getting some really good response, you know, because I have people go, "Oh, I love those songs. I haven't heard that. That title brings back great memories." Yes. And stuff. And that's my girlfriend, Shay Smith, did the video on that one too, and it was pretty cool. You know, I did a little performance on it. And it was supposed to be a lyric video, but instead of typing out the lyrics, she took all the old 45s and had it spinning. I'm in the center, and it's spinning around me. And then when it hits the chorus, it goes to this translucent sheet music. Yeah. And at the very end, Patsy Cline's face comes up beside me. It's really cool. Now, is that out? I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, it's out. That's the current single that's out. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, then. Yeah, Patsy Cline Crazy. And I mean, I heard the song. I remember the red dress picture that you liked that my friend Cindy Horsley took.
Yeah, that's what I was
And that's
wearing.
from the video. Oh, okay.
That's what I wore.
Well, great. You definitely want to check that out. and she, first of all, Deborah is so creative, and she can kind of tell you exactly what she wants. She doesn't come there relying on 20 different people. And I mean, you just, work with close friends or great people to get the best album cover, the best. I mean, you're meticulous about every detail of your albums.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I do have my thoughts on just about everything I do, but I also have to say I'm very blessed because I have some of the most talented, amazing friends in the world, and you're one of them.
Oh, well, that means a lot to me.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time now.
We have.
More than we need to say, although she looks the same and I don't. But anyway.
I think you look even better.
Oh, and I needed that. I waited all different. And then another song that really spoke to me too is It's Only Goodbye. I love that.
That's another one that I wrote with Al.
Really?
That was a very I wouldn't say underappreciated, but it kind of got looked over occasionally. But I kept going back to it. I was going, I'm telling you, there's something about this song I love. I think girls are going to like this song. Hey, it's only goodbye. Yeah. And, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
As soon as you remember how, you're going to laugh about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a fun song. It's a real upbeat song, and I like it. I can't wait to get out there and play it live.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I just signed a new deal with Fusion Touring, so I'm real excited about that. They've already started talking about some good touring plans and things like that.
Yeah, because that's one thing I was going to ask too. Because so many people, after we had this pandemic and things, they're having to. Oh, they're kind of scared to go out because they're afraid their dates are going to get canceled. You have to worry about the government in different areas, and it's good to have a good group on your team, that you can work with.
I had a Christmas show during the pandemic,
really?
And my band they were a little bit withdrawn. They didn't want to get out, And Raymond was like, "Do you think we still have that Christmas show booked?" It's in a beautiful theater in Loretto, Tennessee. I mean, it's gorgeous, Larry. The main hall in there is like patterned after the Peabody Hotel in Memphis.
Oh wow!
And I love.
It's gorgeous.
Yes, it is. It's a wonderful theater. And so I said, I'm sure we did. Nobody's canceled it on me. So we called up William, the guy that owns the theater, and he says, "Are y'all ready to do your show on December 12th? And I said, "Yes, I'm ready to do it." And so we just talked, and so we hung up, and Raymond says, "What are we going to do? Because your guys aren't going to want to do it," because they were sitting at home. I said, "I don't know, but I'm not letting him down. I've got to do that show." So I called up my friend Harry Stinson with Marty Stewart's Fabulous Superlatives. Yeah. I said, "Harry, my guitar player will do the show with me. Why don't you just come play drums and get that guy that plays upright bass with Marty? We'll do like a stripped down version of my Christmas show." And he goes, "Oh, Deb, we're worse than your band. We're not going anywhere." He goes, "No, Marty will get out, and he does solo shows. He's getting out and doing that." And I said, "Well, that's good. Well, that's how I feel." And he goes, "Have you ever thought about Rockland Road?" I went, "Oh, that's it, Rockland Road. Do you know about Rockland Road?"
I've heard. I don't know them personally.
Well,
but yeah.
Rockland Road. They're my friends. Yes. I adore them. And there's 2 boys and 2 girls. They're the granddaughters of Deborah Allen. And then... I
didn't know that part of it.
Yeah, the mother, Jamie. Jamie is his daughter. Yeah. And then... oh, God. I want to call him Apostle. Paul Martin.
Yeah.
Paul Martin is an amazing... He used to be with Marty.
Yeah.
And then also he was with Exile for a while.
Yeah.
He was a lead singer for them for a while.
Well, I didn't know that about Dwayne's grandkids were in it. Did you say grandkids?
So
wow.
Raymond says, he goes, "So are you going to get them to do your show?" And I went, "Yeah, Raymond, they're young, they're smart, they're talented. Yeah. They play like 23 different instruments." Yeah, I swear. I mean, I don't swear. But I promise you, they learned my show. It was a 90-minute show. And Christmas songs are pretty intricate. They learned that show like in 2 rehearsals and 1 sound check.
Wow.
It was amazing.
And God just put that together.
God did put it together, and then later on we did a couple more shows. We did a patriotic show, and they put their songs out, I put mine out, but we're friends, so I'm sure we'll wind up doing some more shows together. So the pandemic, even though it was kind of a really hard on our whole entire nation, and everybody, I always respected everybody's opinion, and I
Right.
still do, about what they chose to do, but I didn't want to let it stop me.
Yeah.
And thank goodness they were, young and unafraid. So we got out and did that Christmas show and had a blast. People need a place to play. We didn't used to have to try quite so hard, because when I got here, they built Opryland.
Yes.
And I
Miss that place, too.
I do miss it. And it groomed a lot of talent there. Yeah. Some of our greatest producers and musicians who became, played on tons of hit records.
And we lost TNN, that was like, oh man, I loved TNN. I know you probably, a second home out there.
Yeah, I did quite a few things out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ralph Emery, the Nashville. We're making this into such an nostalgia. This is what Nashville people do.
I know.
When we get together, this is the most real conversation, because that's how we think. We really, we have a good connection.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
But we're making new ones. We're making new memories, and there's a lot of great, like you were just talking about, Rockland Road, and there's just so many things that bring us all back together, and everything evolves, I guess.
Like when I first moved here, I lived next door to Waylon Jennings' office with Marie Barrett, who Marie Barrett married John Hartford. Marie never wanted to travel anywhere. She didn't ever want to go anywhere till she fell in love with John. And then they were on that bus traveling all over the place. But Kyle Linning was in there. Just a bunch of great people. Captain Midnight, he was quite a character. Just amazing people like that. We could go on and on.
Yeah.
We could go on and on down
memory lane.
Then we could.
Right? And especially then when you get talking about food, oh man, all the great places to eat.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I knew you wrote so many songs. I knew that about you. But 2,000 songs, which means you probably have more than that haven't been published.
Maybe, probably so, but yeah.
Wow.
But it's just, Larry, that's just what I've always loved to do.
Okay.
Started out whenever I got back from Russia with Tennessee Ernie Ford, which was a State Department tour.
Yes.
With Tennessee Ernie Ford, and that was amazing. And when I got back, I was kind of at this crossroad. I liked Opryland, but I didn't want to get so comfortable with making a steady paycheck that I wouldn't be daring enough to pursue my dreams.
Yeah.
So I was playing down at the Spence Manor at the Hall of Fame, down on Music Row.
Yes.
And Shel Silverstein blew in town, and I said, because he was always going by to see Waylon.
Yeah.
And I said, would you come and see me sing at the happy hour? And he goes, sure. So he comes, and I'm up there with my band, ex-Lincoln, he was the nephew of Ernest Tubb, and but he never did use the Tubb name because he didn't want to go on that coattail. But anyway, I always thought he looked like the Marlboro Man. But we did our set. Then I slid in beside Shel, who looked like a pirate, and kind of talk like this.
Yeah.
I was like real wide-eyed. I was like, "What do you think?" He goes, "Well, I think you got a good voice." And I'm like, oh boy, I'm getting ready to be discovered. And then he went on to say, he says, there's a lot of great singers in this town. And so I felt deflated.
Yeah.
And he said, have you ever thought about writing songs? And I went, no, I haven't. I said, I've written poems before, but no songs. And he said, I think y'all think about writing songs. That way you could create your own style. He goes, you know how good you feel up there on that stage? I said, yeah. He goes, that feeling goes away. I said, you've got a point. It does. He goes, but a song is something you can keep with you forever. And he goes, besides, the sun doesn't shine on the same dog's back every day. And that made sense to me. That was his way of saying you can't have a #1 song in the charts every day.
Yeah.
So really, my songs have inspired me. They've given me an outlet for expression, even when things appeared to not be going the way I wish they would. There was always that creative outlet, and it was even when it was not in the spotlight or something, still that's a part of your building process.
It seems like especially with female songwriters, because there is a little bit of a difference in the reactions sometimes that I've noticed, and I work with a lot of females, so I'm more in tune with what their reaction. When they hear a cut of their songs, and it's a good cut, it's like it's better than a #1, for them. That's already #1 at that point. Just
absolutely.
the cut made it #1. And now, see, I guess you would there's that old question: are you a songwriter who sings, or are you a singer that writes?
Well, I was a singer first.
Yes.
Because I just remember walking. I was born singing.
Right.
And that was an answer to my mother's prayer, because she has a little bit of a voice problem.
Oh.
When she was carrying me, she noticed that her voice would kind of go like this, and she said she never said anything about it because she didn't think Daddy would believe her. He'd go, nothing's wrong with your voice, but she noticed it. And so when she was carrying me, she would always say, please let this be a healthy baby, and please let this baby have a strong voice.
Aww.
Isn't that sweet? And so the day that I was born, they brought me into her, and she was looking at me, and she said, Mother just fell in love with you.
Aww.
She said, I was saying, thank you, God. She's perfect. She's got all her fingers, all of her toes. And she said, and then all of a sudden, from the left side of my body over to the right, in the shape of a rainbow, every color of the rainbow went across me. And she said, she thought God was getting her attention.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she said, all of a sudden your name appeared, just the way you spell it today, Deborah. I said, thank you, God. That's what I'm going to name her. I'm going to name her Deborah. And she said, and then all of a sudden, she said, all these little lights started flickering all around it. She goes, like out in Las Vegas. You got to hear her tell it. No one can tell it like her. And she said, I knew that was God just getting my attention, trying to make an impression on me that something was happening. And so then I do remember this, Larry. When I was about 4 years old, we didn't have seatbelts back then, but I scooted over to her and I said, she was driving. I scooted over to her and I said, can you keep a secret? And she says, sure, I can keep a secret. Mother's your best friend. You can tell Mother anything. And I said, I would like to be a singer or an actress or an entertainer. Do you think I can? She said, my heart just started pounding, because I knew that was an affirmation, that revelation in there in the hospital, with you, our first moments together really meant something. It was real. So from then on, she would always kind of try to help me do little things. There wasn't we didn't have American Idol and The Voice and all that. We had little local things, but it really helped me to get out. And I don't know why I went down that road.
No, I'm glad you did, because it's a beautiful
But you were
story.
asking me about something.
I was saying, are you a songwriter who sings?
Yeah. So when you start when I said I was a singer first, and I go, well, actually, I was a singer before I even got here. Yeah. I really think my mother's prayer really gave me that dream and that gift, and I think it gave me the strength to that prayer planted that seed in me. It gave me that strength to weather the storms of the music business, because it's if you're not willing to be disappointed, then it's not a really good business to be in. Right. There's going to be some disappointments, but you just got to remember where your dream came from.
Yeah.
So I was a singer first, but then Shell inspired me in an instant. I said, well, look, I'm going to go and I'm going to write a couple of things, and then if you think that it's okay, then I'll do it, but I don't want to make a fool of myself. So I wrote a couple a cappella songs, and I came back and sang them to him, and he goes, I think you got away with words. I go, you do? He said, yeah. And I said, well, okay. So the next time I saw my mother, she and my daddy were building a house up in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I went in, and she was in the kitchen, and she goes, well, Deb, sugar, what are you doing these days? And I said, oh, I'm a songwriter. I mean, just like that, he changed my life in an instant. So I was a singer first, but thanks to Shel Silverstein taking the time with me, like I mentioned before, here in Nashville, people do.
Yes.
It changed my life. It gave me that drive, just that little bit of belief in me, set me on a path that has sustained me for probably 45 years.
She doesn't look it, but and her mother too. They could, oh man, beautiful.
Thank you.
So young.
Thank you.
And her spirit's just young.
She is.
So you got a long, good life ahead of you to stay young, and you get to stay young all the time with her genes.
I think a lot of it's just in your mindset. You know, it's how you think. It's how you think.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. But there's some genes there, because I mean, your mom's a pretty lady.
My mother and my daddy were cute.
Yeah.
Mother said one time she and daddy were hanging out, and she said, "I think we shook her up pretty good, don't you?" But,
I love that.
You know, and I was talking to Bill Cody the other day, and we were talking about staying young and everything. I said, "You know what I think keeps us young, Bill? Because you've got it." He goes, "What?" "And you do too, Larry." "And that is the music."
Yes.
The music keeps us young.
It does.
You know, I mean, we're living life. You've had your trials and things too. You know that you go through. We all do. Nobody's exempt from that. But gosh, it sure makes it fun when things are going good. And the music is the ride that always gets us to one place to the next.
Best drug that they've ever made.
It is.
You know, that's what I said. I don't know how so many people get that wrong turn with drugs, because I don't see how you can get a bigger high than this.
You couldn't.
You know, it's just so wonderful. Maybe that's what it is. They're chasing that high on their downtime.
Yeah, maybe so.
Because I guess it is lonely sometimes when I know it is. When you're out on the road and the door locks on the bus and you're up in a room or something somewhere away from...
And you know, too, sometimes people have to go through things to find the light, the darkness to find the light. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, I think that's okay too, because they might not realize how bright the light really is unless they spend that time like that. So
yeah, and you've, with your songwriting, you've had some amazing cuts like Fleetwood Mac, Diana Ross, Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, name some of yours that meant the most to you and why.
Well, there's so many great artists. My very first #1 song that I ever was a part of is a song that I wrote with Kieran Kane and Bruce Chanel.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out in the studio one day waiting for our turn. It was kind of a group demo session. And I got kind of antsy. I was like, well, man, if we're going to be here, let's write a song. So we wrote Don't Worry About Me, Baby. I sat down at the piano and we started singing and playing. And then the next thing you know, they said, okay, y'all get in here. So we had to finish it up later on at my house. But Don't Worry About Me, Baby, that was a song I really thought that was going to be a single on me, but for one reason or another, look, we could talk all day long. It's a whole story, but it didn't get to be a single on me. But Don Gant and Bruce and Kieran and I piled into my car, and we rolled down 16th Avenue, went over to 19th and piled in on Jim Ed Norman, and he was recording Janie Freaky, and Don Gant was pretty outgoing too. Yeah. He walks in, he goes, Jim Ed, this is a hit. And we're all standing behind Don, and he goes, well, let's just see if it is. And he puts it in, and he goes, this is a hit. Janie, get in here. And they cut it that day. Now that kind of stuff doesn't really happen.
Not anymore. No. I miss that though, because there's so many great stories like that.
I know. And so then Janie, she cut another song of mine that I wrote with Ray Van Hoy and Rory Burke. Oh. And that was a funny song. It's called Let's Stop Talking About It. And Rory was like, and it was a #1 song too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And he says, I never have had too much luck with these kind of songs. I said, well, let's write it anyway. I said, look, if it's a big hit, we'll take you eat at... No, I said, if it's a big hit, you got to take us to eat at Valentino's. And if it's not a hit, we'll take you to eat at McDonald's. So, but then there's Patty Loveless.
Oh, yeah.
I love her so much. And Tony Brown called me up one day and he said, what's going on with this song, Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way? He goes, you ought to be cutting this, Deborah. I said, well, I would love to, Tony, but I'm not on a label right now. And he said, well, he goes, how would you feel about Patty Loveless recording it? I said, I would love that. And he goes, well, great, because she loves it and she wants you to sing on it with her. And I went, you're kidding me. So I got to sing harmony with Patty.
I did not know that part of it. I didn't know that part of the story.
That's a Million Airplay song. And then what else? Let's see. Oh, and then there's Tanya Tucker, Can I See You Tonight? And John Conley, I'm Only in It for the Love.
Oh, yeah. And John Conley's voice is just, that's what don't you miss how we used to you could turn on the radio and the first note you knew who it was.
Yeah.
A little bit of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of distinction in the voices. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a little different.
So those are some songs that have done real well, and I'm real proud of. But there's other songs too that I absolutely love. Like you mentioned, Loretta and Conway cut a song of mine called "You Never Cross My Mind. You Stay There All the Time." But guess who else cut it? Was Isaac Hayes and Millie Jackson.
Wow.
I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
Millie Jackson too.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I gotta hear this.
Well, when you hear it, it's like the perfect example of how one song can be the vehicle for two completely different styles.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I guess my absolute favorite version of that song, and it's been cut by a lot of people, but my personal favorite of that song is Vern Gosdin.
Oh, anything Vern Gosdin.
I know, he's so good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, I've had a lot of blessings in my life, It's great as a Tanya Tucker or Patty Loveless or John or Janie and Fleetwood Mac and Dinah Ross, all of those. Oh, and Leanne Rhymes. And,
yes, yeah.
Oh, and I finally got my Reba cut this year.
Oh, okay.
All this time, a couple of times my publisher would come to me and say, well, I think Reba might put this one on hold. Oh God, I hope she does. But I never did get a Reba cut. But this year, she did a Christmas movie with John Schneider.
Oh,
called Christmas in Tune.
Yes.
It was on Lifetime, and a friend of mine called up and said, hey, I think your song is on, turn it on over. So I scanned it over there, and there it was. There was Reba and John singing I'm only in it for the love, but Rockin' Little Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I knew they did the film together.
So Raymond comes walking. He goes, what's going on? I go, Reba and John Schneider are singing Rockin' Little Christmas. He goes, well, you finally got your Reba cut.
So we were talking about the songwriting as well, and is there somebody that you? Well, of course, you just talked about Reba. You finally got that, but is there somebody you're like? I really wish they would. This is one. This would be my dream artist to cut my song.
I always had dreams of Aretha Franklin cutting this song of mine called "At the Feet of Jesus." The highest place I'll ever be is at the feet of Jesus. And things like that. Yeah, I have fleeting thoughts that go through my head at times, but gosh, a lot goes through this head. I don't know if I can chase it down exactly who would be my all-time favorite to record a particular song, but there's so many great artists out there. I'm just so floored myself that I've been so blessed to have so many great people record my songs.
And I mean, you've had some
Tammy
really big
Wynette
ones.
and George Jones.
Oh well, I love George.
I got to sing with George.
Oh, I guess you did. I do. Yes, I do remember that. and that's like my top male singer.
Oh,
any genre. Any genre.
Yeah.
And
then Tammy, my gosh, she was amazing too. And
Tammy was.
Oh, and Brenda Lee.
Oh yeah, she's so cute.
I love her. She cut 2 of my songs.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Which ones did she do?
She cut If I Didn't Love You and a song that I wrote called Goodbye Love.
Oh, okay.
And Ron Chansey was producing it, and he called me up and he said, Deborah, you need to get over here. Brenda needs to get you over here. And I said, what for? I'm like, I don't want to jinx this thing here. And so she gets on the phone. She goes, you need to come over here because there's this part where you get choked up and you say, damn. She said, I can't get that to come out right. And she goes, why don't you come over here and do it? And I said, you can do it. I promise you, please. Because I love Brenda. Oh my gosh.
You'll never forget those type of moments.
Never.
I always say, take any time, anything like that. When you have these legends, if you put it off, we don't know what's going to happen next week. That's going in one of the questions I was going to ask you about. Prince recorded, produced, and wrote a song for you.
He did.
You're like the only country artist he's ever done that for.
Yeah, I think he might have produced somebody, but he never did produce and write something for somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that except some fan on Facebook wrote and said, no, he did, I think it might have been Kenny Rogers or something, might have produced something on him, or maybe Kenny cut one of his songs. I can't remember what it was, but this was a unique situation. And they were like, well, we think we can roll with this, and but you need to cut a couple more things. So I went, okay. So I come back to Nashville, and I'm sitting in my kitchen in this little booth that I had in that house, and I was sitting there and I literally prayed. Prayer has been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I like to have a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love to live life.
Yeah.
But I really love to know that all good things come from God.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just said, God, please tell me what to do. And so all of a sudden, it was like, well, Prince is one of the geniuses of our time.
Yeah.
So I wrote him a letter and said, Dear Prince, my name is Deborah Allen. We met briefly on the basketball court at Sunset South. We've had an executive turnover. They tell me that they can run with my album if I give them a couple more songs. I was thinking it would be merely wonderful if we could do something together. Here's a cassette, because it was in 1987. Here's a cassette of my latest work, so you can hear my direction. Please let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. I overnighted it to the studio, and a few days later, I heard back from his engineer, and his name was Coke Johnson. And I said, "Hey, Coke, how you doing?" He goes, "Well, we got your package." I said, "You did?" Yes, we got your package. Prince has a song he wants to send to you. And I went, "You are kidding me." He said, "No, he wrote it for you." And I went, "Oh, come on now." I said, "Tell the truth. Did he really write it for me, or is this a song he already had?" He goes, "Oh, no, he wrote it for you." He said, "Because I was in the studio when he wrote it. This is especially for you." So that's how it all came about.
And that, I mean, even if it had been bad, which it wasn't,
no.
But even if it had been, it would have still been like, we're doing this.
So special. And he's a lot like me, because I doodle on a lot of things, or I should say, maybe, I don't know, we're a lot like each other.
Yeah,
probably a lot of people do this. I know of quite a few artists who doodle, and I'm not the only doodler, but I doodle on stuff all the time, and he did too. On the lyric sheets are written out on the tracking sheet from Sunset Sound on the back of it, and then the cassette has little doodles all over it.
Aww.
And I listened to it and I loved it. And the record label, they were like, I don't know if we can get Prince. He might be too expensive. I said, too expensive? I said, he just made $60 million from Purple Rain. I don't think he's doing it for the money.
Yeah.
And without going into detail, he definitely wasn't doing it for. He had a minimal fee that he charged just to keep it professional.
Oh, yeah.
He is one of the sweetest, most wonderful, genuine people in the world. He's got so much love in his heart. I could not believe when he passed away.
Oh.
That was a tragic loss for everybody. But some people, they give so much while they're here. It's like 10 lifetimes. But that is definitely, my friendship with Prince was the highlight, one of the greatest highlights of my life, just knowing him.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, those type of talents, like you said, that him and Elvis and Michael Jackson and those type of people, they don't come around very often at all.
No, they don't.
If they, they don't come around into the businesses often and blow up like that and touch the world like that.
Yep.
They could be out on the street and we haven't found them, but
And that's the neatest thing too, is that they're huge in the eyes of the world because of their talent. But what's even more amazing is when you get to know someone like Elvis or like Prince, and you find out that they're even more beautiful and even more magnanimous inside than even their career is.
That's the way Dolly is.
Yeah.
I think that's probably...
She is.
I'm probably the only one... Well, there might be some other people, but I'm just saying, in that vein, that the same way, and you just sort of like, I'm glad that didn't disappoint me.
Yes.
To know that they're that good of a person and so sweet, so nice, and, that type of thing. So I can only imagine how hard that had to be to hear when he passed.
It still doesn't really sink in, and that makes me sad to think that, after we had our record out and it, that later on in life he was having hip trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that, and that makes me sad that I didn't make more of an effort to try to re-enter back into his life. It would have been so much fun to do that, but I just felt like that was so perfect, when it came together. And I don't know I guess maybe there was part of me that didn't want to intrude on him again, you know,
Right.
or feel
exactly
like I
what you
was
mean.
intruding on him, you know. I don't think he would have made me feel that way.
No.
It was probably me just being like respectful of his time because he was so sweet.
See, you got to write a book. Have you thought about it?
That's
or
weird.
started
You
it?
must be a mind reader because I'm really starting a book right now. I've kind of already started it, and that brings me back to my album.
Yes.
Because the book is going to be called The Art of Dreaming.
I love that.
Because there's a few songs that have been out there that I've thought really touch people's hearts. I Hope You Dance was one of them, and there's a couple of other ones that I think have CD books with them. But this is going to be more than a CD book. This is going to be more like a coffee table book, because I started looking through a bunch of my pictures, and there's just so many pictures. Yeah. And every time I see a picture, it tells a story to me, like the old Rod Stewart song, you know.
Yes.
And anyway, I just thought, why not let those pictures tell a story? So it won't be all pictures because I'm going to expound on the pictures, but it'll be a good something to inspire me to write.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to do that.
Oh, I think that's great because and I love that you're calling it that, because that was like the whole theme of everything we've talked about today. That's been your life. It's just if you can dream it, you can do it almost.
Yes.
You know, it's the art of the dream.
The art of dreaming. Yeah, it's like, and I keep thinking this so much, maybe because the album is finally out, and I finally chose that song to be the title of my album. The reason why is because I really do feel, Larry, that if you have a dream in your heart, it's placed there by God.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's up to us to nurture that dream and to hold on to it. Yeah. Maybe you might hit a bump in the road here or there, but that doesn't mean that dream's not meant for you. It just means, how bad do you want this dream? How much do you love this dream?
Yes.
So you hold on to your dreams, and your dreams can take you many, many places, and just remember where your dream came from.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. And I mean, that's the perfect title. I want to show everybody too, because this is your the art of the dream, or the art of dreaming, I'm sorry. That's the whole concept of everything we've been kind of talking about, and I love that you're doing the book about it.
Thank you.
And so will some of these songs get to be?
Well, I'm definitely using
the stories.
The title of this album will be the title of the book. But I've been giving it a lot of thought, and since it's going to be kind of a chronological thing, probably it's not necessarily going to be every song that's on this album. No, it's not. The title of the album is the inspiration for the book, but I've got a lot of other albums that have inspiring moments for me too, and there's pictures that have come along, like with great friends of mine, like with Brenda Lee, and all kinds of good people, and so those stories are going to tell my story, and there'll probably be some other songs woven in there. There may be like studio experiences that have to do with maybe the Delta Dreamland album, or the Let Me Be the First album, or the Telepathy. That's the one Prince wrote me, that album, So it's still in a creation mode. It's really on my mind and in my heart. I got to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing everything with us today, and being so open, and just I've just enjoyed this a lot.
Well, I have too, Larry.
Oh, thank you.
You're one of my favorite people. You're so much fun. And, you've got a sparkle in your eyes and a sparkle in your heart. And you love music and you love people.
Yes.
And I'm so glad. I was a little frustrated because we kept trying to get together. And for one reason or another, it was usually my fault that it didn't work out. But you know what?
It worked out. It did work out.
It worked out perfectly.
We dreamed it. It was the art of dreaming.
It was. The art of dreaming is believing.
Yes.
It is.
Subscribe to our mailing list and you could win a CD or DVD project by today's featured artist. To enter, please go to www.mrnashvilletalks.com and enter your email address. While there, take a look around, browse through our music store. Our show is totally funded by viewer support. Every t-shirt or music purchase from our store helps bring us new shows for you.